it's still way too early to say particular things, although it appears to be that the replacement for the current leader in Beijing will be three men. Right now, because of the amount of heart attacks and strokes he appears to have had, they're just pushing to get through whatever meeting they're attempting to have for the leadership in a few days, and then they're going to have their plenum towards the end of the summer. At that point, their current leader will formally commence his exit into the full transition. Now, all this is as a result of the health degradation of their current leader. They did what they could to keep this quiet for as long as they could. However, things have gone beyond anecdotal evidence, and it's starting to really become untenable to hide it any further. The only thing I'm looking at out of all this is what is going to be the direction that those three are going to take, since the party elders that in engineering this don't like the direction that the current leader has been going and taking them through. He wanted to invade Formosa, quote unquote, Taiwan, within the next 2 Earth years. And the new head of the CMC, as they call Central Military Commission, is not exactly on board to do that. Large swaths of the PLA are not exactly on board to do that. So, what stand do they take during the transition? The new premier, what role they're going to have, and the new general secretary, what role are they going to have, and how much room do they have to operate with. I suspect that the trio will be working towards aligning closer with colonizers and hostiles and operating at a corporate so-called DC. While the current leader has been more and more hostile towards in several ways, apparently they're going to be reversing the course that he had them on. Again, mainly speculative. In many ways, I don't care. It's just that when you got the number 1 and number 2 quote-unquote economies on the planet at odds with each other, if either of them starts to sneeze, and the other will catch pneumonia. And because both of them have very large centers of gravity, it's not just them that catch pneumonia. Those in their center of gravity feel it too. And when you got things spiraling out of control over there under the influence of Beijing right now, there is massive violence now. It's not just mere protest because folks weren't paid for months and years. It's way beyond that now. And they got demographic issues and massive debt issues. They defaulted on corporate bonds. They defaulted on other types of bonds. Folks don't trust their paper. They want the gold or the silver. But you don't have folks line up to get their paper. So effectively, that's what's been driving up the gold price. You have whole sections of populations across this planet throughout what some call Eurasia. They're largely under the influence of Moscow. Moscow's ability to do particular things is waning. Kazakhstan is reorientating towards the West. And they're much larger in size and have far more resources than Ukraine. Moscow is not successful in pacifying and subduing Ukraine. They have an even harder time attempting to do that with Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is making their move right now, apparently. Armenia is basically reorientated towards the West as well. Because when they were fighting with Azerbaijan, Moscow couldn't help them. Assad couldn't maintain in Assyria without the help of the Russians. But the Ukrainians are giving it to them. They are giving it to them so hard. The Russians are in serious trouble when it comes to hardware, and they lost over 1 million of their soldier, sailors, and Marines. They can't fulfill orders on their military hardware because everything that they're producing is going straight to their front lines where they're fighting. So those over in the Sahel can't sleep at night because they saw what happened to Assad, and they might be next because they can't get their weaponry quite as easily. So what do we know? No one is going to, quote unquote, sell them weapons anywhere on the mother continent except for the Russians. They don't want anything coming out of Beijing. Beijing pretty much they just back engineered or re-engineered whatever they were buying from Moscow. And their jet engines are horrible because they couldn't get the secret sauce on how the Russians take care of their engines. They've been stealing a lot of their technology from those that are on this side of the ocean. And they were being played. You think you just stole folks' stuff? You stole what they wanted you to steal, and Beijing hasn't figured that out. So they put this coating on their J-20s and their J-35 was supposed to be stealth fighters, but the coating, folks have their satellites and sensors that pick up their coating. They're not stealthy at all. They see exactly where their aircraft are at. They attempted to steal other secrets. That didn't work out for them either. They were being funneled into a trap. Now we know it's going to be an inside job that takes down particular parties on this side of the ocean. The colonizers and hostiles are going to do it to themselves. Because Beijing couldn't take them. Beijing and Moscow combined couldn't take them. It's going to be an inside job that takes them down. Claudio's hanging on by a thread. The geopolitical realignments, as some know them, the shifts are still continuing. This is why I say those who have legacy thinking have legacy behavior. And those legacies are rooted in what the pigmentocracy generates in the caste generators, and those who ascribe to particular racial dominance theories. They're all going down in flames, and they can't stop the inevitable. The hegemony of those who are less melanated, whether they like it or not, is in fact coming to a close. Has nothing to do with us. We don't have to raise a finger. All we got to do is stay out of the way while the whole thing crumbles. And the root of them crumbling, population density shifting. Because their whole system is predicated upon consumption, global-wide consumption. And when populations are getting so elderly that they're retiring and don't have enough 20, 30, and 40-somethings to do all the buying, over time, you're going to lose folks consuming. That means business earnings are down. Earnings down, so they lose their quote-unquote stock valuations. They lose their valuations. They can't raise capital. They can't get liquidity. Some of them have to borrow just to make payroll. Now they won't be able to do that because borrowing costs are going up. Where does that put them? On a downward spiral. The whole global banking system that they operate with is one massive Ponzi scheme. A whole bunch of hypothecation going on. That's haram. They're operating a non-substance system on fractional reserve banking. That's precisely why banks, credit, are both unconstitutional within the Amexem-Moor-Empire. We have an imperial depository system. Depositories don't make loans. We don't do the debt thing here. We're not playing those games. The lessons have been learned, and we act accordingly.